3. We are going to have an open session later on because you missed it. So if you have anything to say, just hang on to it until.
I've got nothing to say, Graham. Thanks.
Okay, fair enough. Then we're on closed session 21.4.3, which is the action plan for the HGD LHI bid.
Okay, thanks. I'll mute.
Anybody else wish to say anything? No. Okay, I'll just throw a pebble in here.
Okay.
I wasn't at the meeting in January when the LHI was put in, and therefore I'm not entirely sure what the intent of the parish councillors who were there. But reading through the minutes, it was all based on getting getting Hilton off the recommended freight road. And I went to one of the meetings, one of the Methodist Church. I came away with the view that there wouldn't be a problem with the traffic volume. The problem would be the alternative route, and therefore it's kind of my understanding of that meeting that the emphasis was going to be on the feasibility study to try and get Cambridgeshire County Council to approve an alternative route. Without an alternative route, we are in trouble. And the other point I would make is that at the moment, without the A14 being closed, my concern is they could bat it back and say, oh yes, but things will change when the A14 is fully open. Give it a year and things will change. So there's a couple of points that concern me. Now, if nobody else is worried, then I shall get back in my box.
I certainly share your concern about the A14 currently being, well, the A14 being and the A1307 being practically empty at the moment. We have no real idea of what the impact of the current level of A14 construction means for Hilton, or indeed the final version. So we're all a little bit in limbo. And actually, you're raising for me a question for the County Council, which is about the timescale for the feasibility study. Is it going to remain the same? Or are we actually going to acknowledge the fact that we've missed a number of weeks, months, whatever, in order for us to pull everything together? Going back to your point about the alternative route, because when you look at the data from 1998, various organizations or God Manchester Council, for example, came up with variations on the theme as to why either for their trucks it wasn't viable for them to take the alternative routes proposed, or it was too much traffic for the likes of God Manchester or whatever. So in other words, they had different reasons for saying why the traffic should or should not go in a particular direction or on a particular route. So that's why we feel we have to gather the data that says, well, this is what the network looked like then, this is what it looks like now, and what it's anticipated to look like in the near future. And therefore, looking at the map, here are the alternative possibilities, but at the same time referencing those against the objections that were raised in 1998. The County Council, I think, were fairly clear that the baseline we would have to argue against is what was argued for in the 1998 application for the TRO, and that if we can knock off all the issues and objections that were actually the ones listened to, and demonstrate that there are alternative routes, then we may well get somewhere with our case. So, okay. So I think it's and rather than either or, if you see what I mean.
Okay, thank you much. Obviously important issue. Does anyone else wish to have a speaker or a question or concerns? No? Okay. So then moving forward, God, it's about being at work, isn't it? Sorry. So the next stage, the conclusion of this item, as I understand it, is really to approve the final statement within the within Anne's document, which was to do with the next stage. I'm just going to call it up on my screen.
Okay.
Can you still see me?
Yep.
Good. Okay. Just flicking through. Bear with me. Okay. Right. It's a good way of getting to know what else is coming up as well. There's a lot of more work on the forward, isn't there? Anyway, no. I'm just looking for your statement. Right. Okay. Right. So really, towards the end of the traffic group one, it talks about we also seek agreement. So that's where the PC comes in. That the feasibility study's purpose is, and this is a quote, to gather and analyse sufficient evidence that would persuade the highways inspector that the TRO objections of 1998 are no longer valid, and no current objections would result in a refusal to remove the B1040 through the Hilton from the AFR. Now, is that a fair enough statement there, Anne?
I'd still think that sums up where we are, because that's my understanding of the guidance we got from the County Council as that our means to getting us off that freight route map.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yes.
Okay. Okay. So the proposal is then that we effectively adopt the report, adopt the action plan, and see how we get on. Now, of course, I should have mentioned also that many of the county councillors are now on different jobs. So as Anne hinted and was mentioned in the clerk's report, what the timescale is and who the people behind it are is a bit unknown. But as long as we have a plan going forward, then we can do no more than that. So can I have a proposer that that's what we do? Are you proposing, Peter, or are you?
Question.
Hi, Peter.
Question. Sorry. Have you unmuted me? I was struggling to get there. Just a quick question, and Graham, on the present situation as opposed to where we go forward. So obviously, as it says in your report, the air is clean. The noise volumes are down and all that sort of thing. So your comment about checking with the County Council that the feasibility study timescale could be extended to allow perhaps, I'm not going to say, I could say the new normal to be in place.
Well, yeah, we do need to know, or at least I suspect they need to know. I'm not sure I need to be convinced, but I suspect they do.
But the trouble is, if they come and say, and they say, yeah, great, we're going to come and monitor, and they come and monitor now, it's just going to waste all your hard work, everybody's hard work on it, isn't it? Because they're going to say, well, what's your problem? There's hardly any vehicles go through Hilton. There's no noise. There's no pollution.
Well, the good news is that we have from the Highways England in the reports on constructing the A14, the estimates of volumes of traffic and so on. And we have independent data on air pollution and so forth. And the volumes of traffic between 1998 and now, even now, is quite significant. So I wouldn't.
And that's why they always said they would come back after 12 months of completion of the project to monitor.
Yes.
And so whether or not they will stick to those guns as well is another thing. So you want to perhaps see your feasibility funding ties in with that. Yeah.
No, I think it's a very good point. And as I say, when I can finally get a response from somebody,
but that's right. There's
a question
so many other more important things going on in the world at the moment.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, are we happy that we effectively adopt the action plan and it continues as it's going? Any other seconder for that one? And Anne seconding it. Are we all in favour? Fine.
All my hands up.
Okay. Right. That's great. Thank you very much, and thanks.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Now moving on to 21.5. This is the forward. Now this cropped up back in just a bit of history for those who may not remember, or for Heather. Cropped up in May of last year, where we had a meeting with CCC. This is to do with the fact that it appears now that the forward's always wet, and it's a good place for algae to grow, and so the surface is perpetually slippery. So the proposal from a temporary proposal from CCC was to put up a sign, and the sign said alternative route, and we were in discussions about where the sign would go. Since then, the officer in charge left. And obviously with the current situation, there's a bit of a delay. In the supporting documents, you've had a response from the new guy who said he doesn't really know an awful lot about it, but he give him time to get up to speed. Since then, we've had quite a few reports or comments from parishioners who are deeply concerned about the number of accidents. And really, this is a question of what we can do, bearing in mind that the Ford is not our property. We can't do anything to the Ford. We did, when we had the meeting with CCC, we suggested that we could manually do some work on it, and we were told, no, you can't, because it's going to take us time to come up with a new design. So it really is a question of what we can do as a parish council that doesn't cause problems to CCC or cause ourselves liability problems. Discussion, please. I think Kieran, do you have any hand up, Kieran?
Yeah, just to, I mean, I feel a bit stressed about this, to be honest, because it does feel to me like Cambridge County Council have shirked their responsibilities here somewhat. Giving us a sign, irrespective of where it goes, is not really solving the problem. And the number of people that are coming a cropper on this Ford now, it surely must be seen to be a pretty urgent task for the Cambridge County Council to come and sort the surface out. On the basis that the chap who we were talking to originally, he wanted to put the sign somewhere that we didn't want it to go, and now he's gone and we've got a new guy back. I wonder whether we should just push ahead and put our own signs up. Either way, on the verges, there are verges, and just put a sign saying cyclists dismount and make it specific for cyclists and have them closer to the Fords. I did look at what the cost of signs were the last time we did any signs. I don't know whether you can remember, we did those no parking signs, which were aluminium printed signs, and they were £28 each. So I wonder whether we should go down that route. Just do something. Hilton Parish Council do something to get some signage up there in the right place, and then secondly, lean on Cambridge County Council harder to try and get them to sort it out.
Okay. Just a point here, and I've got you in my mind for next speaker. I don't know about you, but I just had a note to say that the internet connection is not very stable, and I've noticed quite a few of you are breaking up through the speech. Do we have any protocol? What happens if we do all fall out, Nicola?
I minute it and then we just rejoin the meeting. If you fall out of the meeting, then rejoin it and I'll just minute your absence for the time that you're absent. If I fall out the meeting, you've got to wait for me to come back.
Okay, fair enough. And far away.
So yes, I'm unmuted. Okay, two comments really. One, I thoroughly agree with Kieran about let's just do it. Let's get some signs, put them up. It's crazy that people are having accidents. Everybody agrees there needs to be signage there to route people somewhere else. My second thought is, given that the County Council is one, strapped for cash, two, redeploy doing other things, and three, I don't know when, if they'll ever have a budget or the time to get round to fixing much in the way of roads. So I would suggest that we also offer the County Council to try to fix it ourselves, however temporary. Ian, I think I remember you came up with some clever ideas on how we might do that. So why don't we they may snap our hands off in terms of current situation, getting stuff done that they simply can't do themselves.
Okay. Peter, you're waving your hand.
Yeah, just a caveat on that, you need to check what our liability would be, because we're not responsible for roads. The County Council is responsible for roads. And if we take on a County Council job, do we then become suable, so to speak, if something goes wrong with the work that we do on that piece of road?
Yeah, okay. That's why I'm saying we'd need their permission in a sense. We'd need their okay.
I think we've got a general agreement that we can do some signs. Maybe perhaps think about how the signs are going to get made and how they're going to get put up and where they're going to get put up.
I've just, if I could just jump in there, I'm very happy to do the artwork to get the signs done and to install them on the basis that we're going to put a metal stake in the ground and fix them to them. Okay. So in terms of having them done, I'm happy to take that on.
Okay, Heather? Okay, Heather, yeah, far away.
Yeah, I'm totally in agreement with Kieran. Can we add the word danger to it rather than just cyclists dismount? And can we put something in Spectrum on the website and Facebook just to say this is a really dangerous area? Local residents have reported cyclists falling off, and just say we're responding to this by putting a sign up to warn cyclists to dismount.
Mm-hmm. I'm kind of also anxious that we need to pass it back to CCC. So whatever we do, I mean, I presume that all these reports we get from parishioners we also pass on to CCC, or we can pass on, because we now have a new contact, don't we?
Yeah.
And I say short of, I don't think we need to be careful about taking on extra liability, and we can't really start grinding up the road as Ian was suggesting. Or sorry, we have already been told, but maybe we should be a bit more upbeat and say, could they let us know? Because they did say they were going to redesign it, or look at redesigning it, and those that were at the meeting would confirm that they did say they were going to redesign it, but it would take them a year. So presumably it must be almost up that year. Anne?
Well, my point is that given where we all are, whatever time scale they put on it then ain't going to apply anymore. And the spirit in which I'm suggesting, we say to them, why not let us do X, whatever X is, to help improve it, as an interim measure, because that helps them out, because they know they're responsible, and it helps the cyclists in terms of getting through that ford safely. So that's the spirit of my thinking, is it's because of where we are that we're willing to do this with your permission, and we need to define what this is in order to just make it safer for people to get through.
Okay. Does anyone else wish to say anything? No. Okay. Now I'm going to take it in two stages then. So I think we've got unanimous. Well, I think we've got an understanding that the signs would be a good idea. So based on the fact that there probably would be a cost, I presume we're talking of three figures, £100 plus. Kieran, can you, and Nicola, can you remember what the signs were? Because the signs for the green were quite small, weren't they?
Yeah. So on the signs we put on the green are small, about that sort of size. But if we, and they were £28 plus VAT. So if we say they're going to be, well, they won't be any more than 35, I would have thought,
right,
to have something a little bit more impressive. And they'll need some kind of fixing pole. Now, I've still got the pole that we bought last time, so we could use that. We could cut it in half and have two low signs.
Good. Excellent.
Is that the preferred option rather than going for the cheaper laminated paper on a stick?
Yes.
Because it is going to be, I'm just going to check Nicola, it's going to be a significant cost by the time we've got the signs and the post. Obviously we're grateful for the free labour. It's going to be a significant cost that isn't actually on the agenda. So are we in trouble by voting something that we haven't put as a spend? Nicola?
No, because it does say discuss and decide upon actions. It doesn't specify a spend.
Okay, so I mean, as long as it's a reasonable amount, we shouldn't be too much.
It will be coming out of reserves because there's no budget for it.
Yes. Okay. Are we happy to put a max on it? Say, and I think I'm okay. I'll just carry on for time a minute. I think if we can put a limit on it, say about £100, would that be acceptable? Are we getting? Well, Ian, if you'd say more than that, my worry is that the signs could get taken away because they're, well, actually they're on our verge, aren't they, Kieran? So
I think £100 is fine.
Okay. Well, let's put it as £100. I mean, one of the problems, of course, is that if we do get them made professionally, they may take longer than a laminate sign on a stick. So we are talking presumably a couple of weeks, I would have thought. So, I mean, bearing that in mind.
They were pretty quick last time, but they might not actually be working. So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, let's put a two-stage thing. If we'll ask Kieran to communicate with Nicola to get the order placed. If there's a problem, we'll go to the fallback and we'll have the laminate A4 on a stick as a temporary. Okay. Yeah. Peter, can you
not put the temporary sign up straight away? The laminate on a piece of paper, could we just not put that up straight away and then replace with the signs that Kieran is hopefully going to be able to procure for us.
Okay. Again, we need someone to actually do it. I mean,
anybody got a laminator?
No.
Oh, well, I can do something.
Ian's got a laminator.
I can cover something.
well, Ian's put his hand up here. He's been very quiet in the bottom left-hand corner for me. It's rather like having celebrity squares, isn't it?
Ian, I don't know whether it works, but the Parish Council owns a laminator.
Okay. Well, there's the fallback. There's a fallback. Okay, so based on the fact that there will be a spend, we've got a temporary solution. Can I have a proposer that we have a temporary sign that's done by Kieran, laminated by Ian, stuck in a hole, and then we'll move on to, at the same time, we'll get some professional signs made. So that's a proposal. Kieran, you put your hand up. Can I have a unanimous vote on that? Are we all happy with that? Rob, you're being very quiet. Are you voting? You are voting. Brilliant. Okay, so that's stage one. Thank you very much. So if the three of you could communicate about that, and obviously call in for help if there's a problem. The second point is Anne's suggestion that we tell CCC what we're going to do, and then do it. So can I have a proposer for that one, please?
What do we mean by tell them what we're going to do?
Can I unmute myself? What I was meaning was tell them that we'll take some measure to improve the exit, I guess, of water from the ford, because I think that was one of Ian's suggestions last time, is to dig a bit of a groove or something, so that we take some measures ourselves to make the ford safer as a temporary measure or as an immediate measure, whilst we await the County Council ever getting around to redesigning it.
Okay. Rob, as an engineer, Rob, how do you feel about that?
I'm just wondering, I just worry that if we take on any responsibility for physical work, that they'll shirk their responsibility or it'll delay them doing anything. So while I'm not normally averse to a bit of DIY, I do wonder in this occasion if we should put the pressure back on them. I know we're in uncertain times, but actually it kind of does refocus some people's priorities, and there are other things that may not be happening that perhaps were. So, I think it might be worth first putting some pressure back on CCC. There's a lot of people falling off, I hear about it. I was down there within the last 2 weeks, and you saw cyclists coming past, and no matter what you shouted them to slow down, they didn't. And, I witnessed a couple of people falling off. So I do think it's worth putting some pressure back on. They've looked at this. They've had a year. Nothing's happened. We're seeing more and more people have accidents. They're going to be liable for it unless they do something. What's their plan? I think if we get nothing back, then I think perhaps at that point we could do something. But my worry is if we just start digging and they come out and it looks better, they'll stop.
But my worry,
and I think you've had your fair share on that for the time being. Heather, can I call you?
Yes. I'm just concerned that if we do work and somebody falls off because we've done the work, then we're putting ourselves in a worse position. I think we can write to the County Council and say, we're putting these signs up to warn people. We could also write in Spectrum or wherever that this belongs to County Council and that problems should be reported directly to them to make everybody aware where they should be directing all the issues. And then put lots and lots of pressure on them to do something about the road. Okay,
fair enough. Anne, you had is you want to come back on that one?
Well, just a couple of things. One, my concern with the County Council is they'll come back and say, we offered you these signs, but you just didn't like where we wanted to put them, so, on your bike. I'm paraphrasing. And secondly, I just feel right now that putting pressure on the County Council wouldn't be my approach for sure. It would be asking the question and saying that we really, really need something doing. We understand the difficulties right now because of the coronavirus, etc. And we're willing to do stuff ourselves if you give us permission and your support to do it. So give them the option. Put pressure on them. I'm pretty certain nothing will happen, but I could be wrong.
Okay. Okay. Moving on a bit. Ian, you're being very quiet as the instigator of the grind up of the Ford campaign. Do you have any sort of further thoughts?
I wish I did. I think we were given the impression last year that any measures that we took would not get the approval of county, which was a real shame, because all that I was speaking of doing was creating a groove with an angle grinder, perhaps no deeper than 8 or 10 mil at the most, possibly even less than that, and grooves probably about, I don't know, 4 or 5 centimetres apart, just going across the road, and that would allow a little bit of drainage of the water when it was at a very low level, but it would also give some grip to any tyres, cycle tyres going over it. And that's all I was speaking of at the time, but he just dismissed it completely out of hand.
I'm getting a feeling that there's not much support for our own work on there. We also will have a vote to make sure that we're happy to put notes, as Heather suggested, in all the IT or all the local communications. So I forgot that in the first statement, but we can add a note to that we are going to inform local people. We've also got to consider about those who are travelling far and wouldn't have seen Spectrum. But I'm trying to think how to word this, but I think really my proposal would be is that we continue to put pressure on CCC, and that would not and that the parish council will not undertake any practical work on the forward surface. Now, would I have a proposer for that?
Graham,
are you proposing? You're not.
Just before you do that, can we say to Cambridge County Council that we'll brush it, we'll take a stiff brush to it and have a good go at brushing the surface of the ford? Because if it's algae built up, we could at least do that, couldn't we? I'm quite happy to take the broom yard down there and give it a go. Again,
but I can't really put that in as a proposal, because it doesn't involve any cost or whatever. I mean, if we're happy to do that, that's great, and we maybe even, well, we can't really ask for volunteers this time. It would need to be a private individual. So Peter, if you're happy to do that, maybe even check with Ian whether he's got any magical things that he can do.
That's fine. I'll just go and put some elbow work into,
Indeed, but I think having worked in the playground, I think you might be in for a bit of a surprise as how bad it is, but it's a different surface, I agree. So that's a proposal. The proposal is that we continue to put pressure on CCC and that Parish Council will not be doing any practical work on the forward surface. Can I have a seconder for that, please? Peter seconding it. All in favour? Okay, Anne, are you against or abstaining? Oh.
Come back.
I said I'll abstain.
Okay, fair enough. That's fine. So that's 6-1. Thank you very much. And also, if I can have a proposal that we do advertise the problem within Spectrum and Facebook. Heather seconded me on that one. A proposal that we do go for that. All in favour? Are we all in favour, Rob? Yeah. Fine. Okay. Thank you very much.
Graham, just on that, are we going to state in that communication that we're not able to do anything? Because I think some of the parish perhaps think we're just doing nothing, as opposed to we're not physically able to do anything. I think it'll be worth being clear that we've been told we can't do anything, and we're addressing it with the Cambridge County Council, who own it.
Yeah. I mean, is that okay, Nicola?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe you can on the recording we can check, but yes, we need to make sure that the clarity is whose fault it is, not whose responsibility it is.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. Fine, thank you much. Right, item point 6 is the councillor training, and this has effectively been changed. We were going to organise the training, and then somebody's realised that we could make a bit of money, and so it's been sort of changed a bit. So the proposal now is that as the organiser, we get 2 free places. So as you can tell from your supporting documents, if all 9 councillors went, it would only cost us 525 because we get the 2 free places. We would be organising at the village hall, so there would be a few more costs on top. Obviously, the hourly rate for the village hall, and there's a requirement for tea and biscuits. So there's a nominal charge on top. We haven't been given a date for the training, but I think the point of this item is to be advised that the original system where we were going to run the training has changed, and therefore it's a question of whether we go ahead and ask CAPALC to organise the training at the village hall. Am I right, Nicola? Is that all you need from us, that we're happy for that to?
Yes, the only other alternative with regard to councillor training is that you attend one of the training courses that CAPALC offer, which are also at £75 per person, commonly over in Burwell, which is a bit of a step.
Yes.
But obviously you wouldn't get your free places then.
Yeah. Is there any problem with minimum numbers? I mean, for instance, if we said yes, great idea, we're going to, because the chances of all 9 of us going, because it is an all-day session, the chance of all 9 of us being available is slim. So, I mean, is there a minimum number?
I didn't see a minimum number in that document.
Okay.
I can check.
Okay. So, really, I don't know what we have to vote on, other than sort of it's a sort of a being aware that that's the way that things are going to be run. Do we need to take a vote on this, Nicola?
Yes, please, because it's a change to the previous resolution.
Okay. And do we have to vote on the spend?
Yes, please.
Okay, so the proposal is that CAPALC will organise the training. We will be the host effectively, and there could be a spend of up to £525. With the village hall on top, it will probably be over 600, which is a bit more than it was before. But I think realistically, the chances of all parish councillors being available will still bring it down to the 500 that we've allowed. So that's the proposal. Can I have a seconder for that mouthful? Any for a second? Ian's seconding it. All in favour? Have a show of hands. Brilliant. Thank you very much. Okay, item 21.7. This is as a conference over in St Neots at Y Boston at £75 a head. It's been delayed and it's now in November. Does anyone wish to attend the conference? Oh, Nicola, are you happy to go on our behalf?
I went last year. I found it very informative.
Okay. So the proposal is then that we ask Nicola to attend the meeting on our behalf, and that will cost us £75. So I need a seconder for that. Anne is seconding?
No.
You're doing a show of hands.
Question.
Yeah,
We can hear you.
Sorry.
I can hear you.
God, I have to reel myself back here. In terms of sorry, let me just get to the right bit. In terms of attending that on your own, Nick, assuming you're okay with that, can we also add in our proposal here that you report back the key points that we all need to understand?
Yep, there's a nod there for Nicholas. That's fine.
Thank you.
Okay, and report back. Okay, that's the proposal.
Question of the spend, should that
Yes.
be £75 plus expenses?
Would you be claiming expense, Nicola?
Mileage?
I didn't claim mileage last time.
Okay. I mean, what sort of rate of mileage do you cover or require? Because it's 20 miles.
I think the normal, the standard 40. Is it still 40p a mile?
So there could be an additional £10 on top of that. So that's I don't think it would really affect. So I'll put it on there as the proposal is that it could be £85. But as Nicholas said, it was helpful last time. Anne's just put in a comment there that we will have feedback. So on that basis, it's a max of £85. Are you still happy to second, Peter? Were you seconding? You are seconding. Okay. All in favour? Can I have a show of hands? Yeah. Fine. Thank you very much. That's your November sorted out, Nicola. Thank you very much. Right. Item 21.8. This is the CAPALC renewal. Again, it's all down to Nicola, isn't it? This is up for renewal at £377. Question to our clerk is: does CAPALC give us good value for money? And because there was a talk about it going up, wasn't there? And it was disproportionate depending on the size of your council.
It has gone up slightly, and yeah, the proportion of the increase is weighted so that the larger councils have received the bigger increases.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's definitely valuable. Even if you want to look at it from a monetary point of view, any training courses are effectively half price as a member council.
Yeah, that's true. And also during this COVID-19 session, they have been sending us out all sorts of information, and they've been pretty helpful. So
I do use the help desk as well from CAPALC, so I can just email them and ask them a question procedure-wise or law-wise and get a response.
Brilliant. So it saves us your time flicking through books and things. So thank you. So the proposal is then that we have a spend of £377.02. Can I have a seconder for that, please? Oh, Heather, welcome. Yes, that's Heather's seconding. Are we all in favour? Show of hands. Oh, brilliant. Thank you very much. And then moving on, we have the data protection that we are. It's a strange one. We're required to have it.
Yes, right.
This is the cost. Anybody fancy a scrap? So yeah, there's not a lot we can do. So I'm going to have to require a seconder that we spend £40 looking after our data. Rob's question or seconding? Seconding. Okay. All in favour of the £40 which just is similar, is it? Yeah, all in favour. Okay. Yeah. Just as an aside, there is that similar to last year? Seems to be familiar. Nicola?
Same.
That's good. Okay, thank you very much. Right, 21.10. This is the internal audit, a request or requirement that we spend £200 on the internal audit. This is the one that is able accounts. It's done internally. It's done within the village, and they go. It's like a preliminary to the main one. Things have, I wouldn't say they've been delayed, but we've been given an extension to October. November. So normally it should be in by May or whatever. So we've had an extension because of the current situation. So what we need to do is to vote or I'll propose that we spend £200 on the internal audit, and I would need a seconder for that, please. Peter is seconding it. All in favour? Yeah, great. Thank you very much. So that's that. And presumably, Nicola, you can arrange that, can you? I mean, I don't know how social distance is. It all done electronically, or do you actually go around there with paper?
I have to physically print everything off and take it round.
And then it's got to stay for 3 days in someone's house. Okay, right. Well, thank you very much for that. Will that be done soon? Are you able to do that?
We're looking at the end of May, if I can pull all the dates together.
Okay, thank you. Great, good. Okay then. Okay, so 2111. This is the accounts payable. I'm going to now call up. There'll probably be a little delay while I slickly call up the accounts. So at the end of the agenda, we have the accounts to be paid. So there's the normal JC Services, Ecotricity, the Clark, Microsoft, Opus, Gapalk, ICO, and Zoom. Are we all happy with those? Are there any comments or confusions? No. Okay, Peter, are you seconding?
Quick one.
Yeah, far away.
Oh, sorry. The Gapalk, it's going up next year, is it? Because I just closed Dropbox by mistake. Wasn't it 427.02?
No, Peter, to jump in there. 427 was also if you wanted to include the services of a data protection officer, which we have in the form of Nicola. She's happy to be the officer, so that's the option. The 377 is just the Gapalk.
Okay, fine. Thank you for clearing that up.
That's okay. That's fine. So if you've all had a chance to look at the accounts and you're happy, I'll ask for a seconder that they get signed off. Can I have a seconder that they're okay? Peter is seconding. All in favour we pay the accounts? Brilliant. Thank you very much. Well, I better vote as well, haven't I? Yes, okay. Thank you. Okay, right. That brings on the councillors' items. Anybody who have got any items? Anne?
Yes, it's something I raised whenever recently. I just sort of thought that we normally meet in the village hall. We have planning meetings normally in the Methodist church. And I just wondered whether any of the rest of us felt that we should donate something, a proportion of what we would normally be paying them, just to show a bit of support for both institutions. Now, Nick has advised me that we are not allowed to give money to the church, is that right? Yeah. But do we want to give something to the village hall?
Okay, noted. Yeah, okay. Peter, did you put your hand up? Yeah, Peter?
I just want to make sure that we haven't forgotten this equalities thing that needs to be done by September. It's not on the list,
Yeah,
Mike.
noted. Yeah, noted. Heather, did you put your hand up?
I didn't.
No.
No.
Okay. Ian?
No, thank
No.
you.
Rob? Kieran?
Just one small thing. I attended the Healthy Open Spaces online workshop, which is quite interesting. Coming up with ideas of how parish councils and local authorities can use their open spaces better and encourage people out there. So I've got a call tomorrow with this person who's been organising this, just to talk about Hilton's particular setup, and I'll come back with some more information later on.
Right. Thank you very much. That's good. Okay. So that's it. Just a personal note from me to our clerk, and to Ian as he's there. Just about the volunteer scheme. We didn't sign up for this. The volunteers, it's all landed on Nicola's plate, I think, but it's been delegated to various people. So a lot more work. Daily we get COVID reports from various places. So she takes it all in her stride and also organises the volunteers. So it's all working very well. So just thanks very much. I didn't realise, Ian, you were also involved. Oh yeah, you're getting a round of applause. So yeah.
All right, there you go.
So that's good. And anybody else who's been involved with it, it's working very well. And hopefully we can draw a line under it soon. But that's personal thanks. So brilliant. Okay. Well, thanks for tonight's meeting. And next meeting is early in June, when hopefully we'll get some we'll get some quotes for the insurance to pay for the next day.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much, then.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks,
you.
Graham.
Bye,
Well done, Graham.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.